Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on the time you're watching this video. My name is Dr. Omomilawal. I'm a Lagosian, and unfortunately, it's still under the oppression of one Nigeria. Today, I'm coming out to speak to our legal authorities. And if you're listening to me, or if you have heard of this name before, you'll realize I'm just an ordinary Yoruba lady. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother. I was born in Lagos. I schooled in Lagos. And over 40-something years, I came to the United States to study. I studied education and a master's degree in public administration. Then I returned to Nigeria. I worked in First Bank of Nigeria for 11 years. 1 year as an intern, or what we call the regular 1 year service we are all supposed to put in. And then I worked 10 solid years with First Bank of Nigeria. The name is Mrs. Omomilawal. You can go to the bank and cross-check my performance. I never stole a penny. I was never in any trouble. Any fraudulent practices was not fun with me. And the letter I received from the Human Resources as a testimony read that there was no blemish in a record. That was the only thing that meant anything to me. It meant a whole lot to me. I didn't make money because even with my master's degree, I was an OG3, more or less an officer. While some of my comrades, my colleagues, have been elevated to the position of either a senior manager or even an AGM. And while I came from the United States with a master's degree, another AGM who I worked with also came with a master's degree. But it didn't start as an OG5, as an officer that I started. He became an AGM in that same bank. So I knew discriminatory practices is in Nigeria. But I never bothered because I believed, well, with my hard work, I would quickly rise through the ranks. But it didn't happen that way. And after 10 years, I decided I need to come back to the United States. Probably get my doctorate degree, which I now have, and probably come back to Nigeria. But as you can all see, it's been impossible for me to come back to Nigeria because I came down with severe and terminal illnesses. But God has been great. Now, the bone of contention of my message today is to our legal authorities, our luminary lawyers, our legendary lawyers, our senior advocate of Nigeria, and interns in law school. You've all been hearing what's going on with Dele, Fatotimi, and Baba Afe. Fatotimi may have written a book about the criminal justice going on in Nigeria. Babalola, Afe Babalola, SAN, a philanthropist, a man that has built a career spanning over 5 decades. I've been tarnished, but it wasn't tarnished. It was brought out in open to show its fraudulence, to show its inappropriate and injustice behavior. And Dele did not whisper it. He put it in a book, not for Babalola alone to read, but for the entire world to know what is going down in that contraption we call Nigeria. Now, the fourth estate of the realm, that is our journalists, I haven't seen any credible work that you're doing. A case like this, I expect all of you to bury your heads in investigation. If you are what the name you are called, the fourth estate of the realm, you are supposed to go out there and gather information to see the trajectory in the last 20, 30 years of what San Afebabala has done to the judiciary. If Dele is guilty, I don't think the kangaroo court that is happening around him should be what is happening in a country that we said we have democracy, that we have the rule of law. I now expect you lawyers with integrity and dignity not to fight Dele, but to rise up and fight injustice in that space called Nigeria. You are all murmuring and complaining about Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the conservative, when he says it's not part of Nigeria. What will make a Yoruba lady denounce the country where our father was born? It is something like this: unfairness, inequity, injustice that is parading, prevailing, submerging normal, ordinary people to the ground. Now the ball is in your court, you lawyers, you SAN, or whatever it is your appellation is. You need to rise up if you are what the cap and the gown that you're wearing as a lawyer, to get up and prove, not to Dele, but to the entire Nigerian people, that you are what being called lawyers. If you cannot do that with your bold face, but afraid of what Afe Babalola and his allies and his cohorts will do to you all, then we don't have not only a judicial system, we don't have a country. There's no country. Nigeria will never be respected for this singular behavior. There are thousands and one of injustices going on in Nigeria. But this particular one, I've underscored all the other ones or previous ones. And I'm challenging you lawyers, SAN, intern, professors, legal luminaries that you call yourself. If you are worth the cap and the gown that you're putting on as a lawyer, you all need to get up from your doldrum seat, from being partial, from being biased, or from being corrupt, as people have labeled you, that you are corrupt. And if the legal system of any nation, whatever that nation or country is, if the legal system is corrupt, the legal system is expected to be the last baton of the people, last baton of justice. If justice has failed everywhere, the judiciary must not fail, because that's the pillar that holds a nation up. But if you people call yourselves son, legal luminary, men of integrity and honor, and you do not allow Dele Fatotimi's case to be discussed, not just in houses and corners, but right there in your courts, and free this man who has been alleged to defame Afe Babalola, then you're not what? Being called lawyers. There's nothing luminary about you. And there's nothing honorable about your title. I'm not a lawyer. But I know that defamation of character or a libelous statement should be taken to the Supreme Court or Superior Court, where Dele will have his day in court to defend and to have evidences of what he has written. Afe Babalola is a legal luminary of over 5 decades. He should know better. But he wants to criminalize defamation of character by this kangaroo arrest, abduction of Dele Fatotimi. It is a shit. As a matter of fact, it's a slap. It's a stain on his legal skills, knowledge, and experience. For a lawyer, an SAN, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, to have, I didn't even think he adjudicated. He did not adjudicate. He acted as a warlord. This is the way mafia people act. And we have never known, or nobody knew, that there's a side to San Afe Babalola that would address him as a mafia. His attitude, his reaction to Dele's book is nothing short of a mafia behavior. And if we call ourselves a democracy with law and order reigning in that country, then all you lawyers, whether Yoruba lawyers, Igbo lawyers, or what have you, you must rise for the truth and justice. If you fail to do that, if you fail to educate not only appropriately but judiciously and judicially, I put it to you that you're not worth being called lawyers. You're not even worth wearing that gown and putting on that cap. That wig. A lot of you may be afraid to lose your job, but don't forget your calling. You have been called to the bar to defend with honor and with integrity. Are you now doing that? Are you willing to risk whatever it takes and ensure that justice is done in this particular case? It won't be Dele Fatotimi that you are releasing. It will be the people of Nigeria and the way Nigeria is being represented in the Committee of Nations. If you all fail to do that, lawyers, if you journalists refuse to do a remarkable investigative journalism, then you will not deserve that microphone. You will not even deserve to be on the seat and call yourself a journalist. So I'm not pleading and I'm not begging. I'm challenging every one of you, either as a lawyer, a judge, or a journalist. If you have not screened, searched, probed into any and every nuance of this case, then you have no honor and you have no dignity. And that's why I stand. Once again, my name is Dr. Omo Milawal. I'm a Yoruba girl. I live in America. And this kind of case will never have alighted. It is an abuse of power. And Afe Babalola and his cohorts, they know this. But because in that space called Nigeria now, everybody does what everybody likes. And that's why we're in a state of anarchy that we are in right now. A a country without boundaries. Anything can happen. Where thieves and rogues, kidnappers, terrorists can escape with Blue Mother and nobody will do anything to them. If this is the country that we are in, then don't do anything about the situation that we have on hand. But if you want to prove that Nigeria is a lawful, honorable country with law and order, then every one of you that you call yourself lawyer, SAN, judge, whatever, you must rise and do justice. And that's where the beef is. Thank you. Have a nice day.